What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage Comic Turtle 4-pack. So we, of course, finally got our 4-pack, coincidentally the day after they announced the 4 individual turtles that are going on sale. But at least we got our 4-pack finally. It looks pretty awesome with this nice artwork here, where we get all 4 of our turtles. So, of course, this is Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the artwork's more based off Jim Lawson's art design from the comics that I'll go more into. But we got Shredder in the background. We get the Shredder clones that we've had before, of course, foot soldiers. Just all look really cool there fighting our turtles. We can, of course, flip around to the back where we have just some pictures of the turtles there, all 4 of them together, and then just fighting different foot soldiers, and then, of course, past figures we've already got there. So that's just cool just to show the figures. And, of course, we do have this front flap that'll fold down with a little street view down here at the bottom, so that's pretty nice. But then we get all 4 turtles, which look pretty cool. So we get all 4 of our turtles, all with their signature weapons, some extra hands, some extra little accessories, some extra ties for their heads and stuff. So all of that looks pretty cool. Of course, 4 individual turtles, so we won't review every single one of them because they all look exactly the same, just little minor differences with like the details on their shells and stuff, but still look pretty cool there. And I'm just excited that we finally got our 4-pack because we've been waiting quite a while for this, so I'm excited to check this out. So let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So here are the 4 turtles out of the box. Of course, they are all identical, at least body-wise. There is some small identification markers. Obviously, like if you see on Leonardo, he has the strap on his chest, and you can see the holders for his swords back there. So obviously, we know that's Leonardo. And then Donatello on his back does have a spot to put his bow staff in. But then Mikey and Raph don't have any special spots or markings. But the only thing I can go off is that by the box, they had, specific heads with the different characters. So this is going to be Raphael. This is Michelangelo. Although I feel this should be Raphael because of all the additional like scratches and cracks and stuff in his shell. I feel Raph would have that, but we'll just go with what they had on the box for now. Not that it really matters because, as I said, all the turtles are identical. So if you want to like switch out the heads, to give like the different characters the different personalities and stuff you feel with the head, you can do that as well. All the skin tones match and everything, so you can switch out whatever you want. But just for backstory, these were based off the Return to New York storyline that ran from March to May 1989. It was written by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, with artwork done by Jim Lawson, so that's what these turtles are more specifically based off his artwork. And in these comics, we see the turtles return to New York from Massachusetts following their escape from Shredder and the Foot Clan burning down April's apartment. So they team up with the Triceratops Zog and attack the Foot headquarters, but Zog ends up getting separated from the turtles and is mutilated by the Shredder clones. But the turtles fight off the clones, and Leo ends up finding Shredder on the roof, and he reveals that he was put back together by worms that feasted on his bodies, and the same that the clones were made of, but they were the first experiments and he was the perfected form of it, so bringing Shredder back to life. So Leo and Shredder face off, resulting in Leo decapitating Shredder, and the turtles end up burning his body. So that all sounds pretty dark and grim, but that's how the Turtles comics were, so much different than what we see from the cartoon. But we got our 4 turtles here, so of course we're just going to take a look at one turtle for, the joints and everything, because as usual, it'll be the same with all 4 turtles, but then we'll look at each individual, especially for like their weapons. So we'll start, of course, with our leader of Leonardo. So as I said, they all look the same, so they have this all exact same shade of green. I like this a lot because it's a brighter green, like obviously like in real life, it's darker, but through the camera, it looks much brighter, but I like the brighter greens, like designs like this. I think it looks pretty nice. Now they do all have the red bandanas, so every single one, so it doesn't help identifying there. Like I said, no, this one is Leonardo, obviously, because he's got the belt with the strap that goes up with the sheaths for his swords there on his back, so looks pretty nice with all like leather wrap designs for that to stick his swords into the slots there. And of course he has a turtle, so we get the turtle shell, at least the front turtle shell here in yellow. Like I said, all sorts of little scrapings and marks on it from being in fights, and then the actual turtle shell there in the back, so the brown shell looks pretty nice for him as well. Just looks like a turtle shell design. Then we get their elbows, wrist, and knee pads, this time just all in brown. They'll all match in brown design. So we get the padding on the elbows and the knees there. And then they do have thicker legs, so pretty big, thick legs for them there. Don't like some angles, they look weird, like especially here, the legs look way too fat, the lower legs. But I think overall, these are to me like the best looking NECA figure turtles that we've got. So definitely some of my favorites. It'd just be cool if they did these and then did the colorful bands just to make them more identifiable. But we'll do the movements, so the head will twist all the way around. So they have these bandanas with the tails that come around, so they all have the same ones, and they do rotate and move out of the way because we can replace them. So I'll just lift it up there to get it out of the way. But the head will twist all the way around, and then it has little movements, so it can look down that far and up that far. So not a whole lot of range in there, but it's not bad either. Moves just enough, so works out just fine with that. But then we get the shoulders that do come up. So they don't come up all the way to 90, only about that far, but it is closer to 90 than it is 45, and we'll rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint. Of course, we have the band there in the middle, so it's going to inhibit some of the joints, but it moves pretty good there, like pretty decent for the turtles, over 90 degrees, which is nice. And then we get the wrist that'll twist around and flex back and forth. Now, of course, their joints are a little bit sunk down in, so not as much range as it should, but it does have movement in there. Then we can go to what I guess would be like an ab crunch or twist. It's hard to tell, obviously it's a turtle. It's hard to see what's going on back and behind there, but it does have some rocking back and forth and a little tiny bit of twisting side to side. So not much going on there, but there is some movements. Then we can go down to the hips, so the hips will come up. You can get it up there to 90 and out to the side. There's a thigh twist in it, so it'll twist around. Then down to the double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to the back. Again, this band sort of getting in the way from bending even more, but pretty nice there. And all the way down to the foot where it'll rock back and forth and can twist side to side. And I forget to point it out on turtles a lot, but these do have turtle tails back there as well, so the little tail sticking off the back, and those usually rotate around. So if you want them curved back or curved forward, you can do whatever you want there. But overall, that is pretty nice movement-wise. And again, with these, didn't have to heat them up or anything out of the box. All the joints worked out pretty nice and everything, so that is always nice. With the Mirage turtles, always seem to be nice with the last run-ins and these Mirage Comics ones, so it works out nice there. And as I said, those same joints will apply to all 4 turtles. Now, before we get into specifics, we got some extra like hand accessories and everything that can work for any of the turtles, whichever you'd prefer to give them to. So first up, we do get a set of fist hands. So obviously we can take and switch these out, give them to whichever character we want, but we get a set of fist hands. We get a set of grip hands, which they all have grip hands on already, but these have a little bit more space in between the fingers, so you could probably pose them different, maybe with Raphael's size or something, use them for that. We get a pair of flat palm hands, so those, again, if you want like karate chops or anything. And then finally, we get a set of wide grips, so just some more like claw hands or whatever, like I call them. So we get those hands as well. Again, you can use those for any of the turtles, as well as we get this arm with some damage on it, so it's got a bandage wrapped around its arm. Of course, when I got this, I'm like, what's the different about this? Until I held it up to a body and noticed the brown wrappings there, so it got damaged and has some wrappings there for an injury, but you can obviously take and replace this on any of the turtles, any of their right arms. I don't remember from the story any specific turtle getting injured. I know they probably all got injured, but don't remember me any specific one, but there could be that I just don't know about. But yeah, we just get a damaged arm if we want it. And the final least specific ones, we get some ninja stars or some shurikens here. They look pretty nice. They look like gears almost, but we just get 3 of them. You could obviously try to give these, but I always hate getting these with characters because they're so small and they don't really fit in the hands too well and everything, so they're just more a pain and something that can easily be lost, so don't care about those too much. But then that leads us more to our specifics. So I guess it's not as specific for the turtles, but each one does come with it a set of headband ties that we can replace out. So they all, like I said, have the ones that sort of switch around there to the side, but these we can just plug in and they just be hanging down the back. So if you want those, or you could sort of like put it off to the side like it's blowing in the wind or something as well. But I think I just like the ones curling around the head, maybe depending on what poses and stuff want to do. Like if you try to set up a scene or something, maybe it'll then be more important to switch out to like more of a straight-tailed one. But yeah, we'll get that with each one, so that's an option. And finally, we get their specific weapons. So we get Leonardo's katana, so look pretty nice with the brown wrapping designs, a little bit of whitish gray color here at the bottom. I guess it's got a blue tint to it in real life, then some yellow there for the hand guards and the blades that look pretty nice. So obviously he does have the sheaths here on his back that we can store him in, so we can slide these. I think this other sheath does have some issues, but once you get in, it'll slide in, so we can store those on his back. But of course, we'll just go and put these in his hands. So there's Leonardo with the swords. Of course, nothing really new or different. We've seen Leonardo with swords multiple times, but there's what he looks like with the katana. So always nice to just sort of round out the turtle characters there by giving them their signature weapons. So there, Leonardo has his swords. So then we can move on to Raphael next. So for Raphael, as I said, no real identifiers. Like I said, I just only went off what the box had, and they had Raphael with this smile, although it almost looks like a smile. I guess it could just be angry, teeth gritted, but to me it looks more like a smile, so I feel that fit more for Mikey, so obviously we can easily switch that out. But he has no identifiers, like nothing on his belt or anything to identify who it is, and I assume for like storage of the size, you can just put him in the sides there. But yeah, like I'm just going off what the box showed of this being for Raphael. So once again, for him, we get the headband tail, so obviously you can switch that out. Won't worry about that for right now. He also, more specific for him, comes with this poncho or cloak. So off the very first issue of this storyline, it shows him laying in a sewer wearing this over, like just, I guess, to hide his identity or something. So with this, we can slide it over him. To get this to work properly, we do need to take his headband tail out, so you just pull it out of the back. Just be careful with that. It's not the easiest thing and could probably break that tail piece off, but then we can just slide this down over the top of him, and if you get it positioned properly, get his face sort of peering out from under it there, we have that. So now Raphael is all covered up with the poncho there to, I guess, hide his identity as he returned to New York before the others. So that looks pretty nice, just the brown there over the top. Always pretty nice, not the coolest thing ever, but I love how it sits nice and firmly around him. Doesn't really hang off or anything too much and looks pretty nice overall. And then of course he comes with his size, so we get the nice side design again with this like grayish blue sort of color. Again, just comes like a light gray on the camera, but in real life it's got a blue tint to it. As I said, for this, if you want to store it, you can just sort of stick it in the side of his belt there to store it, but we'll just put these in his hands. And there Raphael has the size, and just to make it match, I went and took the poncho back off him. So there we've got Raphael. Next we've got Michelangelo. Now for him, we just get the headband ties, so again, just the straight ties, and then of course we get his nunchucks, which have a nice like string to them, so you can actually like swing them around and everything. Now I did try to store these in his belt, but there's like too much room and like gapping. Obviously you can get them to just store like that, but they will start to fall out underneath, so you will have to worry about that. But we'll just go and put these in his hands. And there's Mikey with the nunchucks, and as usual, it's always hard to get Mikey to pose up, especially if the nunchucks just dangle like this. It's hard to really do anything. But there we at least have Mikey with his nunchucks. And of course, that leads up with my favorite turtle of Donatello, which will come with the headband tails as well, and then of course his signature bow staff. Now he does have the slot, like I said, to help identify him. We have the slot in the back that we can stick the bow staff in to have that, or we can just put this into his hands. And there's Donatello with the bow staff again. Obviously we can switch up any of these poses, but I'm just sort of put him in their hands now. We'll have to pose them up when we want to put him on a shelf. That looks good as well for Donatello. Of course, like I said, it just throws me off with them all just being in the red, which I know is the classic turtles. From the comics, they all just had the red headbands, but I just like having the different colors just to help identify, and that's what makes me like Donatello the most, is because he's purple. So that's what I wish he had here, but still looks good for that. Now to give you some comparison, especially to other Mirage comic figures we've got so far. So as I mentioned from the story, we have Zog here, so you can see how big he is compared to Zog. Obviously Zog is really big, but these turtles are much bigger than turtles normally are, like in size especially. And then we also have the forearm shredder clone from that, so you can see the height difference between them. So they're still small, especially compared to these bigger characters, but they are bigger sized turtles, like I said, especially compared to what we normally get for the turtle figures. So that's just what I want to show you there. So if you want to pose up a scene to be partnered up with Zog or fighting against the shredder clones, what size you're going to be looking at there. And for further comparison, here's more of like the cartoon NECA turtles. So again, there you can see the height difference really. So there you can see just how big these ones are compared. But then we have other turtles. So like here's the Super 7, Donatello especially. So they're about the same height, just they're a little bit taller. So closer in that scale. And then we also have the original Mirage comic like NECA ones. I think these are the knockoff ones, but just you can see the size difference between what they were to this version now of the Mirage comic turtles. So just 4 different sizes of turtles there. So you can sort of pick and choose whatever you would like to add to your collection for size of turtle you're looking for. Well, that's it for our NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage Comic 4-pack. Finally glad to be able to add these to the collection. We've been waiting so long for them. Of course, missed out when they originally released, never found them in stores. So we had to order them online, and they finally shipped, and I just absolutely love these. Of course, the biggest thing with these is nice to add them to help round out our collection, because we've had, especially all the different characters and stuff you've seen through all our videos, just no turtles to go along with them. And now we have a set of Mirage turtles that look good to go along with them. And I'm just really happy with these. I just love their design. Love that they have, like, to me, the perfect body and joints that NECA offers and just work out so well. And so they're just going to be great turtles to add to the shelf for our Mirage comic designs. So let me know what you thought of these 4 turtles down in the comments. And if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that thumbs up. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.